can't lose. No, we can't lose.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Gambling gods, fickle bunch. Oh yeah, so easily
We
affected.
have a shooter and a good one coming out for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. He's a rolling point is 9, place 9. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen.
They bet on absolutely anything. Don't make them prove it.
I would probably send them to Golden Pants on YouTube. I think he got rid of his Twitter account actually.
You're tuned in to Gambling with Good JuJu.
Welcome in, everybody, to Gambling with Good JuJu, where the Super Bowl is over and we're not pulsed one bit. Thank goodness. Am I right?
Wrap it up.
Seriously.
Yes.
People are going to start pretending to care about college buckets here in a couple weeks, and I'm here for it. If I'm being honest with you, can we get meta here? Just for a second. I know we're supposed to go into it, but you know I love to get meta.
Yeah, the intro. Let's do it.
I have learned this year I am not really an NFL fan.
Right. What a snoozer.
I always thought I was an NFL fan, and I think what I was a gambling fan.
Sure.
And NFL fantasy football was the only real action.
Right.
But now that we have real gambling, as I went through that NFL season this year, I was just like, give me Saturdays. Sundays are for being disappointed in the Bears. Exactly. And it's not just because I'm a Bears fan. I think I'm just honestly not a big NFL fan.
Yeah.
So
it's a social experiment more than anything else, right?
yeah. So folks, if you came here for our insightful analysis of Super Bowl licks, we're not here to give it to you. Actually, we have 3 minutes of commentary. And before we even get to kicking this show off, we're going to cut to that right now. Here's 3 minutes of RJ and I talking about the Super Bowl and what boring one it was.
Keep in mind that was after 5 beers and 65 chicken wings.
I think we recorded for 3 minutes. Enjoy, folks. We're not really here to recap. We're here to complain. What'd you think of the game? I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Here's what I think. I think DraftKings gave me 5 straight days of plus 20% boosts and increased my promo betting limit so that I could go 1-4. I bet on the Eagles and I still lost money because I had too many double-digit ROI plays.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit irritated
I
about
had
that.
a lot of high ROI plays that were not ROI.
How does the game land 62 and AJ Brown doesn't get 50 yards receiving with the Eagles scoring 40 points?
Rigged.
Saquon Barkley, did he get 50 yards rushing?
Rigged.
Rigged. All this is just rigged. If it was rigged, wasn't it supposed to go for the Chiefs' way? Isn't that what everyone says? It's rigged. Now it's rigged because...
Did we have any Chiefs bonuses on DraftKings?
If anyone needed proof that the NFL isn't rigged, we got it tonight. Because there's no way the NFL went out and said, oh, let's do a horrible blowout that no one wants to pay attention to and is going for the team that's not the record-breaking one.
Yeah, I heard a little bleep. Dan Patrick compared the old Kansas City Chiefs to Drake.
Yes.
Right? Where it's like, oh, thank you for getting rid of the Chiefs, but now or thank you for getting rid of the Patriots, but now we're done with you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I
So
would
maybe it
like
was
to get
rigged.
rid of them.
Yeah, maybe it was rigged. I don't know.
I actually don't care if we get
That's
rid of
definitely not rigged.
them. It's not rigged. If it was rigged, they would have made that game better.
Yes. And they would have thrown a flag when he got slapped in the head.
For sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us.
Did you have fun in the basement for the game?
I had a great time.
Was the seating layout more to your wishes?
It was fantastic.
Well, you were kind of a pain in the ass about that.
Yeah, was I? Yeah.
Well, you know, you can fix the seating.
Yeah, well, I mean, there wasn't enough. There was enough tonight.
Yeah. All right. You have nothing else to add to this?
I hate the Super Bowl.
Why?
Period. Not because I bet too much and lose everything.
So you had a bad night.
Oh my God. I had a historically bad, I have zero doubt in my head that's the most money I've ever lost on one sporting event.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. I hope you enjoyed this brief recap of the Super Bowl. We're both bummed. We both thought that our very advantageous plays might do well.
Like, I just needed to hit one.
I need to be explained how 62 points can be scored and no player prop can go over.
Well, you got Xavier Worthy on the last miracle.
Yeah, I'll get a free bet for that.
Okay.
I bet $5 on a Xavier Worthy touchdown. He already had the touchdown.
Put it in the bank.
Yeah, because that was the minimum bet for the.
He scored 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I had Devonta Smith to score 2 touchdowns and for the Eagles to win. Imagine if I had placed the bet of Xavier Worthy to score 2 touchdowns and the Eagles to win.
Dude, it would be so much easier after the games were over.
That would have been much better.
Yes.
But I did Devonta Smith with the Eagles to win because it was plus EV.
Yeah.
So
I'm over you plus EV.
I'm over 20% ROI on extremely small sample sizes not going my way. I don't understand how a game can fly over the total the way it does, and I don't make money on all the promos that just kept giving me things for players to do things, and no players did anything, but 1 million points were scored.
I would have had a lot more fun in a crap stable.
Yes. Thank goodness NFL's over.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, all you NFL fans out there, but honestly, I'm kind of glad it's over.
Right.
I'm done with NFL season.
Yeah. We don't even know who run the prop sheet yet, right?
No, I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't
At our
want to do
leisure.
that at 10 p.m. There's too much work there.
All right. I did get 3 prizes for the kids.
I will
It's for
give
the
out
kids.
prizes for the kids. I'll announce it all in the text thread tomorrow.
All right. Fantastic.
Okay?
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Good juju to all of you. I hope you had a better Super Bowl than us. I didn't have a terrible one, but it didn't go great. Even though I was all over the Eagles. I was all over the Eagles and I still lost money. Good juju. We'll talk again soon.
And we're back.
All right, folks. While we kick things off, head on over to YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and give us a like, follow, subscribe, all those buttons that lets them know you appreciate what we're doing. Give us a follow on the socials at Good Juju Bets. And if you really like us, then head on over to goodjujubets.net, click on the merch shop, and show your support. On today's episode, we're talking about our latest session, building out our own tools to beat the books, bad Januaries and February consequences, and a rundown of a few bits of news that intrigued us. Then we're going to wrap up today with a conversation based on some of the recent hot gambling Twitter goss. Should we even log on to Twitter anymore?
Did you say goss?
Goss, yes. All right, folks, we got a lot on our mind. I don't want to be editing for 4 days, so let's get to it. It's time for the heat check.
Heat check.
All right, folks, so let's have some fun to kick things off. I've gathered a few news stories over the last week, and I will share them in a new segment we call, Can I Make Juice Laugh?
Oh, that's tough.
Ready?
Yes, you can. All right, let's go.
In our first story, $156 million was bet on the Super Bowl in Nevada this year, a 21% decrease from last year. Yet their $22.1 million win on the game was the largest in state history. This left executives with Penn State Gaming wondering, how much will we win if no one bets on our app?
Nice one.
In other news, our good friend Ippy Mizuhara was sentenced to almost 5 years in prison last week in order to pay restitution of more than $18 million. Good luck getting that back, Shohei. In other news, Deshaun Watson is offering to let anyone use his name to gamble, so long as he can use their name every time he needs a massage.
This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Nice work.
Woo!
Is that true? Did he say that? What?
Deshaun Watson is not actually offering anyone to let them gamble under his name so
That's
long
hilarious.
as he can get a jerk off under their name. That's not what's actually happening.
Oh, this is great.
And last but not least, we can bet on planes apparently now. Because booking that red-eye middle seat on a discount airline flying direct to Las Vegas out of a regional airport just isn't enough of a gamble for some folks.
I love flying to Peoria.
Me too. And that does it for news and notes this week. Juice, you got anything for us this week?
I'm not following that up.
What do we think? Anything interesting out of those three stories? The biggest news there, Nevada had its lowest handle, a 21% decrease in their handle
Yeah.
for the Super Bowl, and yet they had their largest win ever. Screw this Super Bowl.
Yeah. Screw the Super Bowl. Exactly. No, it was like there was nobody in town. All the rooms were like $25.
I know.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look, and interesting news, I am following, what is that, Dustin Gauker?
Oh, yeah.
You sent
newsletter.
me one of his newsletters,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
started reading all of them because I am actually interested in just kind of news and notes from around the industry. Sure. And he was listing off the state-by-state returns as well, and he was saying New Jersey up 18%,
Yeah.
FanDuel overall, like big 18% increase, like big increases in all the other forms of gambling. So I do wonder, it's got to be having somewhat of an impact on these major events when now you don't have to go to Vegas to bet on the Super Bowl. You can do it at home. We see that moving away from stadiums and people, not wanting to watch sporting events live as much and just watching on their couch. It's probably happened to the same degree here with Vegas. It's not just the prices of the rooms.
Right. And it's not a good experience anymore.
Like, I'm skeptical that 100,000 people went and looked at the price and was like, I'm going to Vegas for the Super Bowl. Oh, never mind.
Right. No.
Like they probably just didn't start considering to go to Las Vegas this year because they were like, well, it's pretty pricey to go. And you know what? I can gamble on my own couch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Vegas, we're going to have to figure that out. We're going to have to see what kind of promos you can offer us.
Right.
Because it's going to be quite a sell to get us away from our current Super Bowl tradition.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And like to go watch the game at a sports book, it's like $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, you guys would basically, Vegas, just so you know, have to guarantee us a winner, treat us like royalty. We're going to need a lot in order for us to give up our Super Bowl party to come hang out with you guys.
We need Pat Mahomes over 1.5 interceptions, please. We need that in advance.
The most intense weekend I think I would be up for going to Vegas is probably like opening weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
I don't want to be there for the championship games.
Yeah, that's when everybody wants to go, unfortunately. So the watch party for that's like $1,000 at Caesar's Palace.
For the opening weekend?
And you get half the day.
I was there for either opening weekend or Sweet 16, and we got a cabana at Treasure Island for the day. And we had the TV with all the games on, bottle service. We did that full thing.
Yeah, pre-price gouging.
And we were there for a bachelor party, so it was spending like crazy. But now that I look back on age 40, boy, that could have been some cheap entertainment, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
speaking of the Super Bowl, I just want to heat check my family for being the sharpest family in town.
Your family was the sharpest family in town. We ran 2 different prop games, as we mentioned on last week's episode. And boy, the judges cleaned up. The parents shared the overall prize in the prop game for 12 out of 20. 12 out of 20. The problem was 4 out of the 13 people got 12 out of 20. So Covers, if you're paying attention, if Covers listens to this show, next year we're going to need a little bit more rule variation. We have some thoughts for you. I don't know if you guys want to implement them or if we just want to do it on our own. We'll talk offline.
Yep.
Okay. So that was great. And your kids split first place in the
children's
kid
bracket
version of the prop game,
which was the same exact questions.
Now you guys netted yourselves $65 and a couple buckets of candy that you paid for as a result of that. But my wife won both the third and the fourth quarter in the scratch off game that we played, where you fill out 10 names. We did it for each quarter. You get a number, and then the combined last 2 numbers added together gets you your number.
Yeah. Thanks for getting those, Mark. I just want to say that was a huge improvement over
Squares.
Squares.
Yes. We're going to continue with the scratch cards, and he bought enough probably for the rest of our lives.
which is awesome.
So we're good to go for several years. As long as Mark keeps showing up at the Super Bowl party, we are going to continue to play that game for sure.
Absolutely.
So maybe a tweak to the prop game. I still don't think it's dead, even though at the end of every Super Bowl you say, so is it dead?
Yeah.
I don't think it's dead, but I think we have to switch up the rules on it a little bit. Mark Allegheny, for the record, Mark Allegheny, wonderful guy. You can find Mark on what documentary? Where he's standing next to the Netflix documentary
Woodstock
on Woodstock 2.
Yeah.
Where he was with Moby
Slim.
Dick. Fatboy Slim. Sorry, not Moby Dick. He was with Fatboy Slim up on stage when they had to rush Fatboy Slim off. So
Yes.
Mark Allegheny, another interesting character. You can find him on WMBD 1470 every Monday morning.
New Music Mondays.
Yeah. Let's get real. We lost money in January. And February isn't off to a great start for you. I'm barely gambling. I was thinking, oh my goodness, we're going on a casino road trip, folks. February 28th, we're going to head up, starting off in Rockford, then head over to Clinton, Iowa, then head down to the Quad Cities, hit up a few casinos. We're going to put together some content, hopefully coming out of that day. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Can't wait.
If I want to have fun, I need to go make money sports gambling because that's the only way to have fun in casinos because that's where you always lose your money. So, in order to do that, I came to you guys the weekend of the Super Bowl and I said, hey, I need something to boost my bankroll quick.
Yep.
So that I can then take my money out of the sports gambling accounts and hopefully not lose it in all these casinos we're going to.
Right, flip it again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
So,
a normal person.
We talked through some options. You guys are pretty big fans of Be Better right now. We use the Odd Shopper tool to different degrees of success when we're paying attention to it. But I'm really not feeling the top-down betting right now.
Sure.
And I just kind of want to steal some money from the books to go gamble in casinos.
Right.
And you said to me,
I got the perfect solution.
well, let's start taking advantage of some sign-up promos, Peter.
Right.
Peter, government name.
But you used mine earlier.
I used your government name?
Well, the people will piece it together when you said JuJu family.
The JuJu family.
Anyway.
So you said,
Yeah.
hey, if you put $2,000 into Underdog, they'll give you $1,000 and you can just kind of try to be as advantageous with that and
Bingo.
suck out some money for the trip. And I said to you, well, yeah, I mean, $2,000, that's a decent amount of money. And you said, well, why don't you start with Vivid Picks?
Yeah,
and I
start
was
with an easy one.
I didn't even know Vivid Picks existed.
Right.
So you told me sign up for Vivid Picks for $100 and then you get $100 and you can start there and then we can go move on to Underdog. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I can piece this together. Both of them, I can piece it together. But the reality was I didn't want to have to then pull out of everything else and have nothing left. So anyways, point being, I actually found a $250 deposit code.
Awesome.
So thank you, Fantasy Labs.
Shout out
I got
Fantasy Labs.
$250 coming to me, and I had to test it out. I kept doing $10 bets, and I was getting closer to that $100 marker. I was like, I wonder if it's going to cut me off. And so on the last one, I placed an $11 wager instead of a 10 to see if my bonus dollars kept going up past the 100. And sure enough, it's not just a $100 sign up offer.
That's awesome.
I did get the $250. So I'm going to roll that. I've already burned through at least a quarter of what I have to do.
Your churn?
And I churned it in one day. And so I'm going to have this done this week.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I churn that, I'm going to pull it out, dump it all into Underdog, do that $2,000 sign up, get the $1,000 for that. But I got to churn 3,000 and I got to churn the 3,000 before February 28th.
Yeah. Which is a lot of work. You know, especially
it is,
if you're trying to do $10 bets. That's a lot of $10
But
bets.
that was the problem. Like it took me a while to figure out, okay, how do I want to set up my odds screener so that I can go find some plays that at least on these DFS sites, true odds are going to come in at least at like minus 120. Because that was the nice advantage of the Odd Shopper tool. What I was doing was I was taking their book price, and then I was comparing it to their true odds because they have a true odds formula for it on the Odd Shopper tool
For like each
for
Prop.
each prop. But
Yeah.
like sometimes a minus 150, they'd be like, yeah, the true odds is only 120 here.
Oh,
And sometimes they'd be
yeah.
like a 133, the true odds is minus 125.
So
And that it depended on how, I think, on how tight the market was.
hypothetically, a more advantageous.
So
play.
like
Yeah.
it took longer odds for like a college basketball player's rebound prop of 3.5 than it took on, let's say, a big time college basketball game point prop for their star player.
a lot more liquidity, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what they were, the difference between the true odds and the listed price was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that has to do with liquidity.
Width. I think they call it width. Right?
Yeah, something along those
Market
lines.
width. I don't
So
know. Maybe
did
not.
some of that, getting into it right now with the vivid picks. And my whole goal is to try to lose as little as possible while churning through the bonus dollars.
Getting the
deposit.
bonus, right? And then trying not to lose that.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it again, follow it up with underdog,
And-
hopefully complete that. And that's going to be that's my February gambling the rest of the way.
That's awesome.
And
And if you don't have enough to do the underdog full thing, there's 100 of these now that'll give you $100.
Yep.
Sleeper and better and all these guys. So
Yep. The thing is I don't think that these have much utility beyond the sign up bonuses. Like I'm not looking for my edge right now on those. On Prize Picks, it was easy because it's such a big site. By the way, did you know that's the third most downloaded app in terms of sports gambling apps?
Price Picks.
Yeah.
Wow.
It goes FanDuel 1, DraftKings 2, Prize Picks 3, MGM 4.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Underdog's 5.
You may be, yeah. You may be surprised though. Once you churn through this and ghost them, they're going to give you another deposit offer.
Oh yeah, and they do have all those like reduced legs, and you can do some of that.
Those are okay. Underdog, I get a lot of good promos.
Well, I'm definitely using those to churn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like every time I get one of those reduced, it's an automatic max bet.
Now it's so much It's so much easier to do it with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what your max is for a Vivid taco, but
it's $15.
Yeah,
but
sure. You're doing tens.
That low stack, I'm only doing $10 so that I get enough volume down to kind of balance out the short-term variance.
So you get a guy on a discount, you can put him with absolutely anyone, and it's better than fair value.
Right. And if you go ahead and you do find something with true odds of minus 120 or better, you're pretty well locking in a plus EV play at that point.
But to your point, don't just think you can beat the mathematics on this in general, because you can't.
So I guess the advice here is coming out of this is I've been in a rut. I've been talking about it on the show, how I'm in a rut.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get into it. We're starting this big project that we're going to get into here in a minute. That's going to take up a substantial amount of my gambling bandwidth.
Yeah.
In terms of that. So I need easier solutions. We're also going to bring on the DGen boosts next week to talk through this more and to give us some solutions for betting promos in 2025 to complement these kind of strategies so that we're not putting so for me at least, I don't know about you, we're going to get to you in a second, but for me at least, I don't want to be putting too much energy into the actual gambling while I'm trying to build out tools for much, much more advanced gambling down the road.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to the DGen about what to do with my $3.68 DraftKings promotions.
I'm sure you got something better than that.
Oh man, it's been a wild ride. So yeah, I don't think my January was as bad as you thought it was, or yours was maybe. It was really just the last 2 days of the year.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it was just Jolly St. Vic.
Jolly St. Vic.
And I
definitely
that were complaining.
Did not have a good month.
I had a bad one.
Yeah, but this month here has not been going too well either. I am, shout out Be Better. I'm using Be Better quite a bit here to basically just devig against the biggest books and trying to bet into sides and totals on basketball.
And is it profitable for you right now?
Well, I did say it's not going well for the month.
Well, I know it wasn't going well for the month, but are you planning to continue with the same strategy, or are you looking for some other solutions?
Yeah, let me get under the covers. I think that's what you're trying to get to a little bit. So I definitely am not really betting into hockey anymore. Like, I think after a little bit of digging into what FanDuel is doing, they're like super price sensitive now.
Okay.
Like when you look at the graphs, the price was changing like nonstop. So I think I was betting into pretty sharp numbers starting around December or January.
Okay. Did you profit overall? Like you
Yeah.
get out before
Oh,
you
yeah.
gave it back? That's all.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Are you going to keep your eye on that? Like, are you going to like kind of check in on it? Or are you like, you know what? I'm moving on.
Yeah, so good point about gambling bandwidth, right? It's like eventually I'll be sick of betting into college basketball totals
Okay.
and I'll have to go look at something else, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do all of this. I have a full-time job. So in lieu of that, I was kind of dabbling with the Be Better tool in general and kind of just going against the big, well-known sharp books. And I noticed, that was what kept me afloat in January.
Okay.
So I'm just like, all right, let me just dump this hockey thing for a while and just bet into this. And then, of course, I hit a terrible skid.
How much volume are you putting down per day?
Not as much as I was when I was, had these lofty goals and I was trying to do it in 2024. It's about like a third, fourth of that.
Oh, okay. So you have reduced volume.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I will say this year is I'm not taking it nearly as seriously.
Yet.
All right. Until August.
Until August. Let's talk about that.
Shout out Bet Bash.
Because the real reason we aren't gambling so much right now is because we're working on a much bigger project. Being done with most top-down betting and moving into originating our own lines that can beat the books. We had a session with our partner in crime, show superfan Uncle Justin, just last week. And first I'll give a brief rundown of what I was doing for us here, but then I want us to try and explain to the audience what Justin is doing and see if we can communicate this without sounding like clowns.
Shout out the upcoming comments on this.
Okay, as for me, I'm scrounging up data right now.
Yep.
Juice goes and Googles it, then says, here it is, and I scrape it and format it so we can get it to Justin to plop into the tool under development.
Okay.
It started with CBB data. It took a long time, even though I had a perfectly complete file, but it was only through 2022. So now I have to go find all the same data points in different places for 23 through 25, scrape it all together, format it to match the current output, and we have 10 years of data. Boring, but doable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys probably don't care too much about that. This is just going in and getting the data and formatting it so that we can feed it in the tool.
If you are listening and you have done this, hit us up.
Yes, we would love any advice, any feedback, any help. College basketball or now college football data last 10 years. If you think you can help us, we'll reach out to you and we'll talk about it.
If you got Russian ping pong, we'll take it. Like, whatever you got.
But here's the funny part. I do the first part of the project, and
Right.
Elihu, author of Beyond the Odds, the book that's going to be our guide here for the project,
Sure.
reaches out and asks us how it's going.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So
Shout out
awesome.
Elihu.
Thank you so much for reaching out, Elihu. We hope to get him on the show a couple times throughout the season. Check in on our progress. We think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Right? So I give him the lowdown, and the first thing he says is, "Oh, yeah, you should do college football instead."
Great. Now you've told America. They're going to beat us to this.
So the first thing I think is, all right, that's awesome. Anything Elihu says to us, we're going to treat like gold.
Right.
But now I have a second project. But that excites me. Go get the CBB data. Go get the college football data. I'm on it. That's my part. It's fairly simple. You're kind of like advisor status right now in all this.
I feel almost like a project manager right now.
Now. And Justin is the one who's doing a lot of the technical work.
Right.
So let's talk about what Justin is doing.
Yeah, cool.
No notes. Let's just see if we can talk through this one. And by talk through it, I mean, you go first.
So shout out Uncle Justin one more time for even taking us up on this offer to try to help us with this, right?
Seriously, thank you.
But yeah, basically, we understand data.
We understand data outputs.
Yeah. Yeah, very well. I'd call us business users on the data side, right? But, we're trying to process a great deal of data.
Correct.
In a pretty sophisticated way here
Correct.
With this project. Could we do it in Excel? Could we do it in Excel? Probably not, right? But somebody could.
Yeah.
But in essence, he stepped up to the plate and he's interested in writing software. So he's going to take a stab at writing comparable software to process his data for us.
And he's already started. It's not as if he hasn't, like, he's done a lot of the coding already.
Right.
He's created a tool that will give an output. Doesn't have any output of meaning, but
Yeah.
that's our part of the project
Right.
where we have to go in and figure out how to give it meaning.
Yes.
Yes.
As the business user says,
Yes.
you would say. Yeah.
So from a technical aspect,
Mm-hmm.
he has purchased us a domain. Well, not purchased. We have a domain, right? Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
We have Python Anywhere.
Right. So we have basically a folder on some free run your Python software here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's building out the tool within that. And then we are going to, once that gets done,
Right.
we're going to have to go in and create the visual output presentation for it as well. See,
Yeah.
this is
Right. He's writing the software on his machine, but in order for anyone to get to it, he has to deploy it somewhere.
right.
That
right,
would be
right,
anywhere
right,
Python, right? Whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's working on that.
Yep.
And we're getting in the data. He's going to feed it in with the ultimate goal of get all the data in there. We can create a system or a process for back testing that
Yeah.
to then see how our lines would have performed relative to historical knowns
Yep.
outcomes so that we can then have the confidence to tweak or say we've got it.
Right.
I'm sure we'll do it the first try. So that come next college football season, we can then actualize this.
Hopefully.
And I think the funniest part of this is as we go through and talk about our part, yeah, we got to get Justin data. Well, I know how to do that. Okay, what is Justin doing? Well, he's building this thing in Python, and when we get it, it's going to have the data the way we want to see it, and then we're going to be able to say if the data is good or not.
Bingo.
We nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. So now, audience, you know exactly what Show Superfan Uncle Justin is doing, just as you can now tell we know exactly what Show Superfan Uncle Justin is doing. And with the goal being, we get him more data in March so that over the next several months, we fine tune, tweak, test, and get it ready for next college football season.
I'm excited.
We've moved it up. We thought we were starting with next college basketball season. We're starting with next college football season instead.
Yeah, we're going to meet again soon, right?
Yeah, early March.
Fantastic.
So I've got about 3 weeks here I'm giving myself to go get more data.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Anything else on that, Juice?
Nothing I can think
No, good struggle bus for us. All right, let's wrap things up. Let's have some fun. Let's get to our final topic of the night. Gambling Twitter has been a buzz in recent weeks with the launch of Elf's Twitter Spaces debates. We have each tried digesting in our own ways some of the content flowing out of those conversations, and it led to one glaring debate question for us. Should we log on to Twitter anymore? Taking the no position in this debate, we have former marketing director for Papa Shot, multiple brand building savant, and daily social media user Juice. Taking the yes position, a self-described social media hater, eliminator of Facebook, in general doesn't pay enough attention to our own socials brand builder, Breezy. Juice,
Thanks for the intro.
since you shocked me by saying, yeah, let's not even get on Twitter anymore, explain your position.
All right. So I wanna shift my position a little bit. I didn't say let's not get on Twitter anymore.
He's hedging. This is not a good start to a debate. Have you not tuned into these elf spaces?
This is what I want to say.
You're supposed to say something really nasty to me,
Yeah, right.
and then I'm supposed to look back at you and say, but yeah, what's your ROI, bruh?
Bruh. I will say I got a lot of new follows that I'm out of these elf spaces. It's just basically whoever gets tagged as, yeah, they said something ridiculous, I'm following these people now, which is perpetuating the entire thing.
Green means go sports. We're paying attention to you, bud. I am
Dude.
going to say that. You are becoming one of my more favorite content creators in the space.
Yeah, his breakdowns are so helpful.
Right. So we don't pay attention to the spaces, but green means go. We're paying attention to what you're putting out after it.
Yeah, the rankings and the breakdowns. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't really properly process how many people are being ironic in gambling Twitter until Green Mean Go was like, yeah, all of them. And I was like, oh, shoot, that explains so much.
Explain ironic. What do you mean by that?
Just that there's so many like trolls. Like, obviously, we know there's trolls, right? But there's people like faking an entire persona in a very deep way.
Yes.
To where they're like totally committed.
Yes.
That it's hard to differentiate.
Like, do you think these people know that they are the cons they are?
Yeah.
You think they do know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And not even just the cons, but just the commentators too.
So they're not selling it to themselves first. This is this is hilarious. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make up this thing.
So
and if I come in hard and aggressive and with a certain tone and attitude, people are gonna be like, yeah, this guy. Or if I'm another gender, there are benefits to me doing it my way as well.
Right. Yeah. So I think my point when we started this conversation, like on the sidebar, was just I would not tell anybody that wants to learn how to sports bet to get on Twitter. Because there's not going to be any help there for you.
That is an interesting position that I am prepared to eviscerate. I would just like to ask you right now, what are you currently betting?
No, Be Better? Yeah.
Where did you find Be Better?
Yeah, I found Be Better on Twitter.
Okay. Who's our guest next week that's going to talk us through promos and how to most take advantage of them?
Yeah, the Gen Boost.
And where do we find him?
Yeah, on Twitter, for sure.
All right. So how are we even gambling right now if we're not using Twitter?
Right. We just happen to find Twitter. There's probably much better, more sane communities of people sharing ideas and pieces of software where it's not screaming at each other about being pedophiles. That probably exists on Reddit or YouTube or somewhere else.
But to be clear, not all Twitters are the same. And the only way I even know about these elf spaces is because it's bled so much into the mainstream content with people who I follow on Twitter who I don't think are psychopaths. You know what I'm saying? Like when there are people we've had on this show, there have been many guests at this point who have been on this show who are speaking in that Twitter spaces, and I get a notification saying, hey, someone is speaking in this Twitter spaces, and I look at it and I go, huh, that's our guy.
That's Spanky.
And so it's Spanky, it's Corby, it's any of them.
All these guys,
All these guys are in there talking, and I hop on to try to listen, and I'm like, oh my God, they are literally just firing off question after question trying to got ya. Everyone is just trying to got you left and right in this spaces. And I can only listen for a few minutes before I'm like, okay, tune it out.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think that I could get off Twitter. And I don't think that I would necessarily recommend, because it's the way I did it, that someone try and just go to YouTube instead. Because there's the conversation that happens in real time on Twitter that's really valuable to me, where it's like I learned stuff. Just you got to clutter it out. You got to fix it all. You got to get it all set right, and you got to know who to listen to, and you got to do all that stuff. But there's fun and for good quality information coming out.
I think we enjoy Twitter so much for not learning how to sports bet reasons. One, like I am kind of a nerd about branding and positioning and social media and stuff like that. And two, we really use it for our podcast, the networking aspect at this point.
But we used it for several years before the podcast.
We did.
And that's what made us start the podcast.
That's what made us start the podcast.
Was gambling Twitter.
Hopefully someday we'll join the elf space.
I logged in and I made a comment just so that someone would know we were in there.
Yeah. And so my point is, if you do not know anything about sports betting, Twitter is not the place to start.
Right. You can go onto YouTube, you can Google, you can learn, but you also don't know the quality of those people on YouTube.
Sure, of course not.
Twitter, they're just letting you know everyone's fake.
Right. So
no one is real.
So I do, I thought about it, and like there's a couple of things that like really changed the trajectory of my sports betting that I got from Twitter.
Okay.
But there's just a few, right? It's like finding promo guy 123, the DGen boost. Finding those guys like really helped us out, right?
Yeah.
Finding Mr. Limited.
Yeah.
Like that was very resourceful.
Yeah.
In a very entertaining way.
Yeah.
But for every one of those, there's 500 people that are scammy.
There's 500 days where you didn't get that information.
Yeah, exactly. And like we weeded through so much of that bull crap to get to where we are.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest that to anyone.
And I will also say our gambling knowledge accelerated 100-fold through the podcast as opposed to through Twitter.
Yeah, our self-development.
Yeah,
for sure.
So there are a lot of factors there. Okay, maybe I would, if I were to do the Gambling with Good Juju guide revision number 1, I might spend some time saying, if you don't want to deal with the BS of Twitter, I would recommend YouTube, and I would recommend these accounts to start with. Would that be a more fair intro? If you were asking for teach me how to sports gamble right now, you would be more likely to send them to YouTube?
I would probably send them to Golden Pants on YouTube. I think he got rid of his Twitter account, actually.
That's a nice shout out. We'll have to pull that out.
I know he was like building a course, and I think he ended up just deciding to release it for free on YouTube. I haven't checked it out because it's like entry level stuff.
But we did have him as a guest early in 2024, and he's a really smart guy.
Yeah, so. And I'm loving the podcast now. He's kind of recommitted, and it's really advanced stuff. I think you would enjoy it.
Okay. Well, I will say this. I do not think that I would recommend to anyone they don't try Twitter, because there are some specific accounts that we could say, here, follow this, 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 and this.
There's probably like a top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Maybe we need a top 10. Top 10 useful Twitter accounts.
Oh, my God. Like, remember in the Beckett price guides? It'd be like hot and cold.
Oh, who's moving up? But it would be at stages of your development, right?
Oh, so right. We'll take it seriously again.
In your development, Mr. Limited's a top 10 account. Later in your development, once you've retained a lot of his information, probably not still a top 10 account.
Right, yeah.
No offense, Mr. Limited, still a good account. But,
yeah, great content.
Right. But he has to keep reposting the basics for people every few months because of that.
Yeah.
Because that's the bread and butter of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm still going to get on Twitter. I still think folks can get value out of Twitter. Juice, even though you think we should get rid of our Twitter accounts, I don't care what you said. That's what you said. Because of the cesspool that is gambling Twitter. No, I'm kidding. Now I'm just putting words into his mouth. We love
exactly.
Twitter. We love the community. And if everyone would just calm down and have more fun, we'd have a great time.
I just want our 300 bots back so we back over 1,000 followers.
Are you kidding me? That is the biggest deal. Elon, stop paying attention.
Right.
Let's get those bots back.
Give us our bot follows.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us this week. Next week, we're coming to you with our first guest of 2025, our first guest on YouTube, the DGen Boost. Good juju to your bets, everyone. We'll talk again next week.
Bye.